Welcome back to the Prosperity Playbook. Today I am with my friend Ashley Umbaugh, and we're going to take a little departure today and we're going to talk about pregnancy and babies. And I think everybody kind of has some common knowledge around these topics, but there's definitely some things that I learned after I was pregnant and after I had a baby that nobody warned me about or told me. Some good, some bad, some ugly. So put on your seatbelt and strap in for that because we're not going to be shy about what is said here. So, so as many of you know, my daughter Lexi is just about to turn 18. She just graduated from high school, but Ashley has a 10-year-old and a 7-year-old and now a 4.5-month old. So if you are on YouTube, you'll probably get to see a cameo here when she finishes her snack, and she's about the cutest thing ever, and her name is Ira. So stay tuned for that. So, well, we'll just jump right in here, and everybody tells you that when you're pregnant, it's just this magical thing, and you're glowing, and I'm going to say that wasn't actually my experience. I was like very, very sick, and I was huge, and my back was out the whole time, and I was genuinely kind of miserable, which is one of the reasons I have one child. So tell me about yours.
Mm-hmm. I always feel bad when I talk about it because, and I thank my mom for the genes, but I did not get sick at all with my three. Total blessing.
That is a blessing.
My first pregnancy, perfectly healthy, great all the way through. Second one, my boy, perfectly healthy. My back went out, and I could not get it back in. I would go to a chiropractor even all the way through my pregnancy, and what ended up happening was my back would slip, and I'd be like crawling on the floor.
Yep.
It was awful.
That was me.
Crawling on the floor, just like, and I remember a couple of days just like sobbing because I couldn't get it to go back in myself.
Yeah.
And maybe I'd be able to see the chiropractor soon. Maybe. Just like, you've got all these hormones building up, plus your back going out, you can't even walk. That was miserable.
Yeah, I think it just has to do with all of a sudden you're carrying all this weight in the front and our bodies are just not prepared for that. I was the same way. It was a joke around my office that Renee was just laying on her office floor crying again because she was so broken.
It's a sick joke.
Yeah, pretty much. But you have to laugh or everybody else has to cry. Right. How about your third one?
Third one, actually we had some issues. I was high risk. Well, number one, you get pregnant after 35. They call you a geriatric pregnancy, which I did not appreciate. I was like, excuse you, call me what? But so that put me into they did more testing, right? Like the gestational diabetes, the what's it? Oh darn. Something with the placenta. But I ended up having placenta previa. And that's where it sits over the cervix. So they won't let you have a natural labor, right? They say you have to schedule a C-section, but it actually ended up resolving.
Oh.
Which was really good. But it went anterior, which is right in the front, right? Mm-hmm. So super grateful for that. Again, wasn't sick, had back issues again. But I now, one of my great friends is a chiropractor, and she took care of me all the way through.
Oh, nice.
And so that wasn't as bad this time. But she actually ended up coming 2 weeks early. Oh. My placenta abrupted, which means it like started sloughing off from where it was attached.
Okay.
And I was like hemorrhaging.
That's terrifying, I can imagine.
Yeah. We live 40 miles outside of town. So we like quick got the older two to somebody else's house and then hauled.
Yikes.
My husband, I remember making the comment, he's like, if we get pulled or I'm still going, we're just going to call into dispatch and tell them to give me a ticket when we get to the hospital.
Yeah, that's good advice. Yeah. Well, I think that there's a good note there to just kind of, for a takeaway is you can have your birth plan all laid out of how you want it to go, and it's not necessarily going to happen that way. It might, but I think the best advice that I can give you around that is be prepared for it to change and be okay with that too.
Yeah.
Hi, hello, sunshine.
Yes.
Because as long as you end up with a healthy baby and you're healthy at the end of it, that is the most important thing. And I've seen a lot of women like get really hard on themselves because they weren't able to deliver naturally, or it wasn't as serene of an environment as they had pictured in their vision. But it just is going to be what it's going to be, and sometimes it's out of our hand, and God has a plan, and you're just going to have to go with it.
Absolutely. And I'm really grateful that that I've kind of always been of the mindset, like, as long as baby's healthy, I don't care what we got to do.
Yeah.
Right?
Yeah.
Like, do I wish that everything would, align just so I could have, this person here at this hour and all the different things, perfectly planned out. I'm not really that way. But if, ideally, yeah, sure. But as long as baby's healthy, that's all that matters for me.
And I think maybe that is prepping us for actual parenthood in general, because you can have the best laid plans, and like my kid was never going to have mac and cheese and chicken nuggets. I was only going to ever make her own organic baby food, and she was just going to be this healthy eater from day one. And somehow that didn't happen. It started that way, and I can't even tell you where it went off the tracks, but it did.
Yep.
And you just have to know that some things are out of your control, and you kind of learn to pick your battles. And, and there is like, I ended up having to have a C-section. Mine, I went in for my normal checkup, and they're like, your fluid levels are really low. And so they did a non-stress test, and they're like, okay, you need to come in at 6 a.m. tomorrow and have this baby. And it was like 2 weeks early. And so I was like, oh geez. Okay. So I went home, I called my husband. He was working up in Big Sky. I'm like, okay, it's go time, baby in the morning. And I called my mom, and she was like in the car on the way. So it was kind of nice, because I did get to tell everybody, like, okay, here's the time, show up and be there. And so it was a little less stressful in that regard, because it wasn't a surprise. I mean, it was a surprise as to when it happened, but we had a little bit of time to plan. But I'll tell you what surprised me about the C-section piece of it. I had to have a C-section because she was breeching again. My fluid levels were low, and they wouldn't let me try to deliver. But so you're laying there on the table, and you have this, basically your spinal tap situation that they do, the epidural. And so you're completely numb from the waist down, or from the neck down, basically. Yeah. And all I could feel them like sawing on me, though. So like I could feel my body shaking as I'm laying there.
It's
and it was
a bizarre feeling.
Weirdest thing.
So bizarre.
And I don't do well with pain meds. So I had warned the doctors about this ahead of time, and they were like, oh, you just let us know if you're feeling nauseous. And I was all of a sudden puking off the side of the table. So that was not the best thing. But it was funny, because while they're sawing me open and I'm feeling my body shake, I hear them gossiping. Like all the doctor and the nurses and everybody's just chatting away, hospital gossip. And I'm like, what in the world is happening? And the anesthesiologist leans over my shoulder and says, hey, just so you know, that's how you know everything's going fine. Like if they weren't gossiping, that would mean maybe they had to pay more attention, or that, things were going badly. So
good point.
I was like, okay. And so after that, then they hauled me off to a recovery room, and they told me I couldn't have the baby till I wiggled my toes. And so I'm in there in this room by myself, like willing my feet to move so that I can have the baby.
Come on, toes.
Right. And in the meantime, I didn't know this at the time, but my husband was with the baby, and he was getting to do the first bath and do all the things that I was missing out on. And I had no idea that was happening. I was just like, bring me the baby.
No kidding.
So it was an interesting thing, but it all worked out. And it was kind of cool that he got to have some of that special time and do his thing.
That is good. That at least baby got to have daddy back. Huh? It was similar. We had an emergency C-section. We got to the hospital and immediately started prepping me for surgery. And since my placenta was anterior, they had to cut through it in order to get to her.
Oh.
And apparently I was very anemic. So they said that I bled over almost 3 liters of blood.
Oh my goodness.
On the table.
That's terrifying.
And that was after what I had bled. getting there. And so like I felt the jostling, but I was hearing different things. It was not gossip in that room.
I bet.
But then also they got to her, and this is where the part of the story I'm just like, God took care of her. She was already in the canal. I was already in early labor.
Okay.
Before I abrupted, and the cord was wrapped around her neck twice,
Oh my gosh.
and she was already turning blue.
Oh my
So
gosh.
they got her out, put her on oxygen for 5 minutes, perfectly fine,
Wow.
right? And I'm watching. They do everything in the room now,
Okay.
so it's gotten a little different, which is good.
Yeah.
But I'm watching her, right? I'm watching her over there, and watching my husband with her, and then they're swaddling her up after she's breathing on her own. She's just fine. And anesthesiologist, my best friend in the room too, just he kind of would say things to gauge how I was feeling. I think he was where are you going?
Squirming away.
Squirmy. And he kept asking me, if you feel lightheaded, let me know. Excuse you. Don't you be barfing on this cute couch.
It's baby barf colored.
But I was starting to like nod out. And so I remember, and this gets a little, it's not dark, it's just reality of what happens. But I remember having a conversation with Jesus
Really?
and just saying, okay, if I'm coming to see you, I'm ready.
Wow.
Said, but I looked over at her and my husband, and I just said, but you got to promise you're going to take care of my babies and their dads.
Wow.
I was like, okay, whatever it is what it is.
Wow. That's amazing.
But then my husband brought her over and put her face next to my face, and she was crying. As soon as she touched my cheek, she quieted it down.
Oh.
It was like the best. It was the best feeling. And then they got me sewn up, and like back to the feeling too. I could feel someone like on top of me. My doctor, which this is funny too. My doctor happened to be the doctor on call. She happened to be the one who delivered my daughter
Oh.
almost 11 years ago.
That's wild.
And but she's this tiny little thing, and she like I felt her on top of me, and I'm like, what is happening? But they got me all done, and like the look on her face when I saw her afterwards, she was like, well,
Here we are.
we made it.
Oh.
How are you doing? I'm like, I'm fine. How are you?
Wow. How
Like,
was
you're
your
rough
recovery after that?
Surprisingly, my mom always says Jesus loves you. I'm like, yes, he does. I had like the traumatic shakes,
Oh.
like right out of when you come out of surgery. My whole body shook, like
Yikes.
for an hour,
Yikes.
and I couldn't stop it. But she was with me. We were doing skin to skin that whole time.
Nice. You just got jiggled.
Yeah.
Babies like that.
I mean, I was pale and cold and all the things. I haven't lost a ton of blood, but they were monitoring that, and for the next couple of days. And the doctor told me, she's like, plan on being here for 4 to 5 days.
Wow.
Like we might have to start transfusions in the morning.
Sure. Seems like a good plan if you lost 3 liters.
Right. She goes, we're gonna monitor you overnight, and see where you're at in the morning. And in the morning, my levels had already started to climb. I was feeling better. I didn't really get out of bed that first day at
Fair.
all. Barely moved really. But I ate a lot.
you,
I ate a lot.
you needed it.
I ate a lot. And then, but yeah, I mean, my levels just climbed and climbed and climbed, and I never ended up needing a transfusion.
That's amazing. It's
And,
amazing what our bodies can do.
Right? It's fascinating. And then by day 2, they were like, well, you definitely don't need a transfusion. But your iron levels are still a little low. We'd like to, like, do you want to be sent home with supplements, or do you want to just do an iron transfusion now? I was like, I'm here, hook me up.
Yeah.
Like, just do it now.
Yeah.
So that's all I ended up having to do was an iron transfusion, and I went home within 48 hours.
That's wild.
Yeah.
And Ira
Amazing.
was good to go. She didn't need anything.
Perfectly healthy, happy, started eating like a champ, slept beautifully. I was just like, okay.
Love it. She's like, I just needed that dang cord out of my way.
Yeah.
Just get that out of there.
Get it out of there. We don't need that no more.
Well, let's talk about the feeding piece of it, because I think, nursing gets kind of romanticized and it's this amazing thing. And it is, but I don't know what your first experience was, but mine was extremely hard. I had a very hard time getting her to latch in the beginning. And here's where, like, if you're a guy and you've been hanging out so far, you may want to miss this, but like I had so much milk. I was so engorged that like her mouth couldn't even have a chance.
Yeah.
Like I had to actually pump to get rid of some of the milk just so that I could get a chance for her to be able to latch on a nipple. And it was a challenge, and it hurt.
I was going to say excruciating, isn't it?
It was. And like it because it's just raw and they just do nothing but eat all the time, and they make these like nipple shields and all this stuff to try to help, but it just nothing prepares you for the scabs and the blood. And
yeah, you're like, this can't be normal. This is not good.
And not only that, but the fact that like you assume that that's just going to squirt out in like one stream out of the very tip of the nipple.
Yeah,
no,
like
it just
15,
kind of free for all sprays everywhere. It's the wildest thing ever.
It is bizarre.
Yeah.
I remember thinking that too. My first, I think God was just nice to me because I was not in a good space. But she feeding her was fine. But my son, we had a lot of issues, and I cried for weeks trying to nurse him, but I didn't. I wasn't too proud to not supplement with formula. I did.
Good.
And if I needed a break because I was bleeding, and if he touched me, I would go through the roof. Like, I'm sorry, just have a bottle. He's gonna live.
Well, 100%.
You know.
Yep. And I actually I had to pump a lot, obviously, and so we had all of this milk that we were storing in the freezer, and so it actually became a thing where my husband could make a bottle. He could warm up a bottle and feed her, and she took a bottle right away. I know he was like, "Is that supposed to be hard?" I'm like, "I think so," but she took it right away.
Yep.
We found a nipple that was very similar to the type of pacifier that she had, and she just took it right away, and she was a champ. And for me, I kind of worried about, like, it's hard to tell how much they're getting when you're just exclusively nursing. And so I kind of worried about that. Yeah. And so I really actually liked it when I would pump and then she would get the bottle, because I knew exactly how many ounces she was eating, and I had a good gauge of that.
Yeah.
And then we actually built this great routine where I would feed her at, I think, 8 o'clock, and then I'd just go to bed. And then Josh would feed her at 11, and then he'd go to bed, and then she would sleep from 11 to 5. And then I'd get up at 5, but I'd been sleeping since 8.
Oh,
so it was amazing.
Thank the good Lord. That's amazing.
Yeah. So that worked out awesome for us. And then, Josh didn't have to get up with the early feeding. And so we had a really good routine down, and it worked. But I think everybody finds what works best for them. And I think the moral of the story is choose your own journey. Like, don't compare yourself to what anybody else's is.
Yep, absolutely not. And each kid is different. That was the other thing. I was like, oh, sweet. My first girl, I got it down, and I was like a single mom during that period mostly. And so I was like, I got this. My son was night and day from my daughter. Completely different. All kinds of different issues. And he puked, like projectile vomited. He was super happy, baby. He wasn't colicky, so he didn't fuss during it, but it was everywhere. So, like, the sleeping thing, he slept in a bassinet next to us. And, I slept on a pile of burp rags for the first number of months. Oh. And it was just, not glamorous at all.
Well, I think that is the key. I mean, you see all the cute baby clothes advertised, but it's not super glamorous. Like most of the cute baby clothes got worn once to take a photo, and she lived in exactly this outfit, the onesie with the feet, because trying to put shoes on a baby is...
Yeah, they don't stay on.
No.
And socks don't stay on.
No.
They rub their feet together like little praying mantises, and the socks are gone in 2 seconds.
Exactly.
Like, I am not fighting this fight all day.
Yeah. So that ended up being our entire wardrobe was onesies exactly like that. And it was the best thing ever. And Lexi was the queen of the blowouts. Sorry, Lexi. I'm sure you're going to love that I said that. But yeah, anyway, that was our MO. And so we always had multiple of those in the baby, the diaper bag, and usually a change of clothes for me as well. There's a pro tip right there.
That's something I learned. For sure. Took me a minute. I'm like, oh yeah, I should start packing me a different shirt at least.
Yep, I had multiple times where that came in real handy.
Absolutely. Especially if you have like a meeting to go to.
Yeah.
Or like you're not going to go back home and you're going to dinner that night, which I mean, that didn't happen for a while. But when you do, it's like, if I don't want to be covered in baby puke.
Yep.
I need to think for myself.
Yep, exactly. Well, and I think that's the thing, the amount of times that, I mean, I remember the Friends episode when they were talking about like the baby pooping like 7 or 8 times a day. She's like, it goes 8 times a day?
8 times
yes.
a day?
Some days it just does. And it can vary in colors between black and orange and green. And it's like, especially in the beginning, it's just a wild adventure of what color are we going to get today. And
figuring out, or you know what, the little feature that I really appreciate nowadays is that you can send in a message to your pediatrician on the app.
Oh.
And they can answer you, so you don't have to go to the pediatrician every time it's a different color and go, is this normal?
Just send pictures.
Yes. Just,
I love it.
I don't know.
Yeah.
I think this is okay. Will you please tell me?
Well, it is funny because there's so much, like you can read all of the baby books and you can think that you're prepared. And I just remember getting ready to leave the hospital. And I remember thinking, they're going to let me leave with her. And I don't have a freaking clue what I'm doing. Like, I got the car seat, I got the things, but like, I literally don't know how to do this. Like, and I've never been one that was like, oh, I want to hold the baby, like loving on everybody's baby. Like, I like babies, but I'm just fine. You can have your baby, you can hold your baby. Like, it's cool. And there's so many people that are just so obsessed with babies. And I was just never that person. I was like, man, am I going to be a terrible mother? No. When it was my baby, it was totally different. I've always been afraid I was going to drop somebody else's baby. But then when it was my baby, it just genuinely felt natural. And I don't think anybody could have told me that and I would have believed it. But it genuinely was true. Like there is some instinct involved. You just figure it out.
Yep.
You just do.
Well, and that's the thing, is just figuring it out. But giving yourself enough grace to be able to do that.
Yeah, I think grace needs to be the moral of the story for all pregnancy and parenting, I think. And that goes for dads too. I read something once that said women become a mom like when they're pregnant, but men become a dad when the baby's born because it's not as real for them and their hormones don't go through all the changes and things like that. But we did strategically plan to have my daughter in September. And then, so I stayed home for 2 months, and then my husband owns a landscaping company. And so he had 4 months of winter season. So he stayed with her for 4 months when I went back to work. And then she went to daycare at 6 months old. But it was the coolest thing because he had to figure it out. It wasn't like he had to hand her off to change the really messy diaper or to put her to bed or to go to sleep or get the nap. Like he became the nap master. Like he had the baby burrito situation down with the swaddling, and he had this like bounce thing he would do in the crib and like
baby whisper.
He was, yeah. But they just kind of have to figure it out. And it was a really cool thing to watch him become that person.
That's awesome.
But let's talk a little bit more about other things that are weird during pregnancy. I remember during pregnancy that my hair got really thick and it was like the best hair ever. And then after I had the baby, it all fell out.
It falls out. That's where I'm at right now. Every time I shower, I like come out with this giant
clump
ball of hair.
Yep. Great. And it has to do with estrogen levels and progesterone and all the things. And I know it's normal, but man, I had some good hair when I was pregnant.
Right? I've always had, and you too. You've always had thick hair. I can tell, like pretty thick at least.
It's been really thick my whole life, and then perimenopause has kind of smacked me in the face, and now I'm back to the clumps in the shower thing. But we're working on that. Whole nother HRT conversation for another episode someday. But yes, the hair was a thing for sure that I loved. But I was very tired the whole time, especially like the last trimester where I was so big. And I think the baby's just taking all the energy. I would like make dinner and go to bed. I've always thought, like, how do moms do this that still have other children that they have to deal with? Because I was like, good night, I'm out.
On autopilot. That's the answer. Yep. Autopilot.
That makes sense.
and if I was blessed enough to where Ira was a late in life surprise, as we're calling her, and the best surprise, you completed the family.
Aw.
But my other two were old enough to where like I could just be like, "You're on your own."
Well, that's nice.
I don't have it today. I don't have it. I've got nothing left.
Well, and I do think there is something to that. One of my sisters-in-law has 6 kids, and all of her older kids are just great helpers with the littles. They just are by default. Because after 2, you're outnumbered, right? Like you gotta have somebody else to recruit to your team for a while.
Yep. My daughter, oh my gosh, it's so funny. When we first announced that we were pregnant, both I'm kind of going backwards, but both of my kids had been begging us to have another kid for like 2 years. And I was like, nope, not going to happen. Nope. And then we announced that we were pregnant, and my daughter screamed.
Oh.
She was so excited.
Oh.
And then it jumped from that to it's going to be a girl.
She manifested a girl, didn't she?
Sure did. And then on her birthday last year is when we revealed that it was a girl.
Aww.
And again, the screaming. And now, like, as soon as she met her in the hospital, she's been like second mom.
Aww.
Like
I love that.
It's so
Good
awesome.
for her.
It is. It's really awesome. Huh?
That's so
sis
fun.
is the best.
Big
And
sis is the best.
Bubba is an amazing big brother.
That's so great.
Yeah, he's really great.
Well, I just have the one, and I always thought that was, kind of the way it was meant to be, and it was a special thing. And we always kind of left a spot in our family for my nephew. I have a brother that's kind of on the spectrum, and then he had a mom that both parents had some drug issues, and we'll talk about drugs and all the things in our next episode with you. But we had always left a spot in our family for him to be adopted, and he's a little bit older. He's, quite a bit older than Lexi, 8 years older than Lexi. And it just never came to fruition. And so we had one, and I always genuinely loved that. And I think I was only meant to have one. I just don't know that I'm amazing enough as some of these other moms are that can do one or more, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. But I will say that Lexi now at 17 has told me recently that she really wished she had a sibling. It's like one of the great regrets of her world. And that kind of broke my heart, to be honest. So I'm not changing that now. Things have already happened that none of those things, that's not going to happen. But I do think, she did get to do a lot of things that she might not have had to or gotten to do. But to her, like, she also, I've noticed that she's never had to like share her parents or share her stuff. And that doesn't mean that she's a selfish person by any means. It just means that she reacts differently to things. She doesn't have that annoying sibling to drive her crazy. And so she gets frustrated about things quickly because she just hasn't had that, I guess. So
hasn't had the forced patience.
Right. Exactly. And I can remember, like, I love my sister now. She's the best, and her and I are close. But I remember being the oldest of 4 and thinking, like, these guys are always just in my way. And like, I just want my own time. I would have given anything for time with my mother, just the 2 of us. And it rarely happened. And so I thought I was giving my child this gift of me all alone. And it turns out that's not what she wanted. So there you go. Not that she doesn't love me, not saying that, but It's amazing the things that I think she sees people with siblings and like just genuinely feels like she's missing out on that.
Yeah. Yeah.
All right. Well, let's kind of anything. How about pregnancy cravings? My thing was strawberry milk. I had to have
Oh,
strawberry
yes.
milk. And by the way, I cannot deal with any dairy pretty much in my life. Like milk for me is a non-starter, but when I was pregnant, I craved it and it was the only thing that helped my heartburn. And then right after I had her, I tried to have a milkshake and it was like right back to like, don't you dare eat that again like that. Nope, this isn't it forever. That was only while you were pregnant. So I thought it was like my body's way of saying I needed calcium, maybe.
Oh, maybe.
I don't know. What were yours? Did you have
Yeah.
any?
You know what? Mine were funny. So with my first ice cream, I was always ice
All
cream.
the ice cream.
I had ice cream every day. And then with my son, I actually craved milk and lemonade,
Oh, interesting.
like at the same time. Like I'd be double fisting.
Curdling in your stomach.
That's what my husband was always like, that is so disgusting. I was like, it's like a creamsicle. That's what I want. I want that type of
love
thing.
it.
And yeah, it's fine. He didn't have to like it.
Yeah. How about with Ira?
But I couldn't pinpoint me actually having any specific cravings with her.
When I was pregnant, there was 3 ladies in my office pregnant at the same time, and the other 2 potatoes. They wanted all the potatoes all the time in any form. They wanted potatoes, and mine was strawberry milk and cheese. And my poor boss in this office full of pregnant women. There was one day he just like took us to breakfast. He's like, nobody's getting any work done. I'm taking you all to breakfast, and we went
All the hash browns.
hash browns. I'm like, and can I have cheese on my hash browns? Can I have cheese on my eggs? Can I? And my boss is like, just bring her a block of cheese, please. Like,
Bring all the cheese you got.
just cheese
all
and
the
strawberry
potatoes.
milk.
That's so funny.
I don't know. I do think it's like our body's way of sending us a message for things that we need. And then, like I
think
said,
that's right.
went right back afterwards. Nope, no milkshakes for you. So,
Yep.
but I think there's an important topic probably before we wrap this up around postpartum depression.
Yes.
That wasn't necessarily something that I thought, but I do think it's a really important thing because I think part of it is just expectations and part of it is you're not pregnant anymore, but it's this crazy hormonal barrage of things changing and your body's different and you have this baby, but then it doesn't just shrink immediately back to this tiny little waist. Like it takes your body some time to do that, no matter how fit you are. You said something smarter earlier around going to the chiropractor. Like I think the more you can do to be healthy when you go into being pregnant, have your body in good shape, stay in good shape, do the things to take care of you. It's a thing I think moms in general should learn, that self-care for us actually pours back out to our family as well.
Absolutely, 100%.
Did you struggle with postpartum at all?
I didn't with my first 2. With her, not postpartum depression, but I have felt, honestly, more overwhelm. than
I
my
think
2
that's completely
previous.
fair.
And it's so funny because I'm like, why am I feeling so overwhelmed right now? Like, I can handle this, you know? And I think it's, it feels like outside pressures are like caving in some
Interesting.
days. But I have a couple friends who suffered pretty severely with postpartum depression, and they've always been really good at checking in on me.
I love that.
And I can be honest.
Yeah.
Because sometimes in the moment it's like I don't want to minimize it. But to me, I tell myself it's like an overreaction in the moment. I'm overstimulated, overwhelmed, and I'm just like, oh, I don't know what to do.
Yeah.
And those are safe people for me to talk to that about, and then I feel better.
I think that's super important. I think asking for help in general, whether that's physical help of like, here, I need you to hold this baby so I can go take a shower or whatever, or whether it's somebody to talk to. I think either asking for that, or if you're the friend of somebody else that's pregnant or just had a baby, be that friend, call and check in, or just show up and watch the baby so that they can take a nap or a shower or whatever. Even if you're not a baby person, you can put it in the bouncer and stare at it for a while while mom tries to get 5 minutes to herself, because it genuinely is a hard thing.
Yes. I find like in the mornings, I'm getting everybody else ready to go out the door. Making breakfast, making sure my son actually puts his shoes on. I've asked you 5 times, you've come out with 2 different toys. Anyway, just all the things that come with that routine. And then, she needs me and is hungry again. And all the things. So she starts fussing, and I haven't even gotten dressed or brushed my teeth.
Yeah.
And we have to leave in 5 minutes. So like sometimes I remember one morning I put her in, we have a crib sitting behind our couch, just out in the open area. And I put her in there and she's playing. And then all of a sudden she starts fussing, and I know she's not hungry because I just fed her. So I'm like, it's okay, baby. I'm right here. You're all right. And kind of go about doing what I need to do. And my daughter is so sweet. She picks her up and just hands her to me. I'm like, oh, honey, I love you so much. Can you please just can you play with her? I need to get dressed.
Yes.
But like in those moments, it's like, I know my 10-year-old isn't going to know that like, I really can't right now.
Yeah.
But like in those moments are the moments when I am like, if one more thing is presented for me to do right at this very moment, I'm going to fall to the floor.
Well, I think that's just something that happens. I don't care how old your kids are. I mean, there have been moments when my daughter was a baby and also when she was a teenager where I genuinely could have just cried on the floor for a while and not known how to deal with my feelings or not known the right thing to do. And babies just don't come with an instruction book, and you just have to do the best and ask for help. I did read a book called Baby Wise, on becoming baby wise, and it really helped me. It was about kind of putting your kid on a schedule from the start, and that I do think really helped with the sleeping. But the best advice I ever got was just like, take your kid with you, make it a part of your life, and try not to. I mean, we did move around her schedule a little bit because without a nap, she was kind of a bear. But yeah, we did what we wanted to do, and she just went with us. We just had her little carrier, and if we were going to a friend's house, she just went with us, and it just became part of our lives. You said something about brushing your teeth, and it reminded me that was one of my pregnancy things. Brushing my teeth made me throw up every day, which is very counterintuitive or counteractive to when you're trying to like freshen your breath. But every day it was a whole situation.
That gag reflex, absolutely.
And my other thing I want to talk about really quick on pregnancy is baby brain, because this was the most shocking thing for me. Nobody had warned me that I was going to become, frankly, quite stupid when I was pregnant. I have always thought I am pretty smart. I had a job that I do numbers all day, and I would like walk into my office and stare at my laptop like, I don't know what I'm doing here. Like,
no idea what I'm doing right now.
And it was very hard for me. Because being smart was my identity, kind of.
Yeah. And I've I kind of mentioned it before, but like I've always been able to step up, do the things, get things done. I got this.
Yeah.
Again, like the first few months after my son, there was that brain fog, and then I found my stride. Right? With her, I feel like I'm like, y'all, I'm living on grace and a prayer. I can't remember where I put my keys. And then I walk up to the car and it's already started there in the ignition. I'm like, I did that the other day. Renee, I did that.
I believe you. Day. I absolutely believe you.
My poor husband, not my poor husband, poor me, dang it. He gets to watch it though. And he the other day was like looking at me, like,
but
are
it's
you
so
okay?
real.
I'm like, I got nothing. I have no excuse. I'm so sorry.
Yeah. I actually can't pinpoint when mine came back. Like my smart brain came back. I think it eventually did, but I'm not sure if it ever fully came back. Like I remember thinking, okay, as soon as I have this baby, I'm going to go back to being smart. It definitely did not come back right away. There were definitely months where I was like, damn it, I need my old brain.
Please come back. Well, and I think one of the most infuriating parts of it for me is that, like, I know it's there. It's still there. I'm still very much capable. It's just not connecting.
Right. It's not accessible to me.
Connecting. There's like this block, this void that I can't cross some days.
Exactly. Well, I think it's an important thing to note, but it's in the long run, it's worth it. I mean, the best thing somebody told me was it is the hardest and best thing that you've ever done, being a parent.
100%.
And it's so true for me. Like, it is absolutely, even I've said it a couple times on prior episodes, parenting a teenager is absolutely the hardest thing I've ever done. But the relationship I have with my daughter at this point is so amazing, and I'm so grateful for it, and I wouldn't change it for the world. There are days that, like, it has been just tear you down to nothing and wonder how you're going to walk through the door the next day, but it's so worth it in the long run. And the love that you have for a child is not like anything else that you can explain. I remember when we were married. We had this dog. We had this border collie named Cody, and she was our life. We were obsessed with her. We loved her so much. And I remember people being like, just wait till you have a baby. You're going to love it so much more. And we were like, I can't imagine. There's no way I could love anything more. We'll probably love it equal to we loving Cody. And then when Lexi was born, I was like, oh, there is another level.
Put Cody outside.
Yes, we didn't love Cody less, but you know, my sister was the same way. She had these two dogs that were her life, and then when she had her son, she was like, they're not important anymore. Like they were, but they weren't the priority. And so there is another level of love that you just don't tap into until you're a parent, and it's wild.
It is so wild. That is definitely something that, you know, nobody can prepare you for, because there's no words for it, like you said.
Yeah. There should be a different word, a stronger word than love.
Yeah.
It's wild. But I think just to wrap up, you know, don't compare your journey to anybody else's, because every single one is unique. Like you said, even from one kid to the next, whether that's your pregnancy or whether that's nursing. I remember when I was nursing, I would have to pump in my office, and my friend Sherry that was also nursing at the same time as me. Like I was a milk cow. I had bottles and bottles and bottles in there, and she would get like 1 ounce each time. And she was like, I'm literally going to go steal your milk. Like, this is just not fair. And who knows what the difference is. I'm not smart enough to know what makes one happen over the other, but you just can't compare that journey. And I think that's the same thing when you're a parent. You have to do what feels right for you and your family.
Yeah.
And everybody's an expert on parenting until they become a parent.
Exactly. And then they will anyone who's actually a parent will go, I don't know, man. You got to figure it out.
Good luck. And each stage is so different. Like every time you figure out how to parent at that stage, then it just changes.
Then it's over. Yeah.
I know.
I just got that one down.
Yeah. And it's so easy for people to be judgy around it, because you're like, oh yeah, I got this. And then you look at somebody that's a few years ahead of you and be like, oh, I'm going to handle that totally different. And you're like, nope, not until you're in that scenario are you actually going to know.
You have no idea what you're going to do.
Yeah.
And even if you do the things you think you're going to do, it might not work for your
100%. 100%. Even my sister, who's a fantastic mom, she's one of the best moms I know, but we'll have conversations around parenting teenagers, and like I just like have to secretly laugh, because I'm like, this is going to hit you in the face so hard when your kids are teenagers, because it is so different. And she has great kids, but the oldest is 10, and I'm just like, I just shake my head like, oh girl, it is coming for you.
That's so funny.
So don't judge anybody else, because you will find yourself there eventually.
Yep.
But, well, thank you for tuning in. If this has been helpful, please please subscribe, please share it with somebody else. And Ashley, we're going to connect with you on another episode here next, and we're going to talk about addiction and recovery, because I know that is near and dear to your heart. If people want to connect with you, or they want to learn more about you, what's the best way for them to do that?
Facebook. I'm an open book. My phone number's out there for the world too. You can call me.
Just Google, yeah.
Yeah.
Deal.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, thanks, my friend. I appreciate you being here. I think there's a lot of value in this, and hopefully, we didn't scare people off of having children, but because it is worth it. And again, if you're not watching on YouTube, you should go back and at least take a gander so that you can get to meet Ira because she's the cutest little thing ever. And what a good baby.
She's a good baby. She's sleeping again.
All right. Well, stay tuned for the next episode. Here's to empowering each other one story at a time.